Ladies and gentlemen, from the creator of Sinister Bunny Studios, this is the Metal Brain Podcast.
Alright, you guys, welcome back to another episode of the Metal Brain Podcast. Today's podcast is sponsored by Sinister Bunny Studios, your go-to channel for heavy metal content. If you have not checked out this awesome channel that I have no ties to whatsoever in any world or any universe, it's not me, it's not anything like that. There's really cool shit on there that you may want to take a look at. If not, well, you're going to be kind of left out of all the cool shit. So, Sinister Bunny Studios, definitely check it out. In this episode, unfortunately, it is again another just me episode, but I wanted to tackle the subject of the cost of being a creator, like a content creator, because there's a lot of things that play into it that people don't necessarily think about. And we'll just kind of jump right into it. I got a couple different key points that I want to hit, and then I'll get out of here. And I also apologize if you hear my washer in the background. I didn't exactly plan out this recording time very well. Anyway, the first point that I will tackle in terms of the cost of being a creator is probably the most obvious, and that is the actual financial cost of trying to do content creation. And that's a big part of it that most people think about, and that's going to be our first topic. And it really kind of depends on who you are, what you want to make, and what you want to put into it, because you can get somebody who has unlimited funds and they can pour millions of dollars into it. Or you can get someone who's not so well off and they can pour tens of dollars into it, which was kind of me at the beginning. And like I said, it just kind of depends on what you want to do, because not everything requires the utmost top quality tech, top quality anything. And like, let's take, for example, a podcast. You don't necessarily need to have any kind of top quality equipment. You don't need this $400 microphone. You don't need this $130 boom arm. You don't need this $1,000 4K video camera. You don't need the most expensive stuff in the world. It's just not a necessity. I mean, you could get something like this Tula microphone that is really awesome for, I think, like $200, $250, somewhere around there, maybe $230. And this can do so much. I've talked about it a handful of times, but this little microphone is super powerful, and you really only need this one, and you could have a whole podcast with either one or two people, because not only can it just record yourself, like talking into it this way, it can turn into omnidirectional mode and record everything around it. So you could put it between two people facing each other talking and record a podcast that way. And it doesn't need to be plugged into anything like this really expensive microphone has to be. It can record straight to itself. It has internal storage. It's got built-in noise cancellation. So like all the background room noise and even like my washer a little bit could just automatically get taken out with the built-in software on that microphone. And you don't have to do anything on your computer. You don't have to run any kind of special plugins. It's just built in. And then when it spits it out on the internal storage, it has a version of your audio recorded with the noise reduction, and then it also saves a version without it. So you get a backup in case the noise reduction does something fucking wonky. So that right there, $250, you can record yourself, you can record two people, you can record really high quality audio, you get noise reduction built in. You have basically two microphones, well, really three microphones in one. You've got a unidirectional for yourself or omnidirectional for all the way around. And you can also plug in external microphones like a lavalier microphone, like the ones that clip onto your shirt. So there's so much built into that one little thing. And $250 might sound like a whole lot up front, but like to have all those features packed in saves you a lot of money down the road. Because with what I'm doing right now, this microphone, right? $400. It has to be plugged into a cable, which is maybe $10. I've got a boom arm for it, which is another $130. So that's probably like what? $550 right there. Then I have an interface that's like $200. So that's $750 right there. And then that plugs into my computer, which was like $1,300 that I built myself. And then you've got all the programs and shit that you run in here. Like, there's a lot to it. unnecessarily. That one Tula microphone could straight up record an entire podcast. Now you might need to have some software to edit it down, but not even. I think with Anchor, which is where I distribute my podcast through, you can edit the audio a little bit on there on that website. So you don't even need like fancy programs or anything. You can just do it all right there. There's ways to do things really cheap, and you just got to find it. And even with that, you don't even need to get the Tula mic. You could get just your phone. You could get a cheap $30 lapel microphone, which I always recommend the Purple Panda if you're looking for a clip-on mic that sounds really good and is really, budget friendly. The Purple Panda lavalier microphone is an amazing microphone, and it's really budget friendly. And I think when I bought it years back, it was $25. And it comes with different adapters and a really long cable and all that. And so if you have your phone, you can plug it right in, and if you're only doing audio, you could just open up like a voice recorder app. Now I use like the Samsung one because it's really nice, and hit record, and bam, you're recording really good audio. It's clipped on and everything. And then if you're doing video with it, then once you plug in your microphone, you just go to your video application or whatever it is, and then you do this and record the video with the microphone plugged in, and the audio should record straight to the video, and you just straight up upload it from there. There's a lot of things you can do on the cheap. You don't need to spend the most money. I didn't spend all this money for all of this equipment straight out the bat. It's been years of building up and getting free stuff and building on things. Like, it's taken time. It's not something that I did instantly, because I see a lot of people get confused with like the starter YouTube kit. Here's this 4K camera and this microphone, and like a lot of those people making those kinds of videos are trying to sell you with their affiliate marketing, which is the links that they give you to the equipment that they recommend. They get some kind of financial compensation if you buy that equipment through the link that they gave you. So there's kind of a bias there. There are ways to go cheap. There's a lot of USB microphones that are like $30 that plug in straight to your computer or your laptop and sound really, really damn good. I was sent a handful of them over the years to my YouTube channel with Sinister Bunny Studios, and I was pleasantly surprised with a lot of them. Now, I got them for free, which is kind of a bonus thing that comes once you start doing stuff. You may not have a cost because you might get free stuff, and if it's stuff you can use, then it's just fucking bonus. I think people get really confused, like I said, with, I need to buy all this really high-end equipment to be able to start. Like, I can't just start with my phone. Listen, I started off making videos with really, really shitty equipment. I had like a very old camera that had a fixed lens. It was a Sony DCH or DSCH 300 or something like that. It shot 720p video, and the audio was on it was absolutely terrible. And I shot a lot of stuff on that for a while. Like my Mary Had a Little Lamb metal cover that I did for Sinister Bunny Studios was shot on that camera. Eventually, I moved on to using my phone because our phones have amazing cameras nowadays. If you have a newer phone, or even any phone in the last 5 to 10 years, will have a pretty goddamn good camera on it. I mean, this S10 Plus can shoot 1080p, or not 1080p, 4K video up to 60 frames a second. So you can shoot 4K video, phone 4K video, at 60 frames a second. And that looks really good. And it's something that most of us carry around, so it's not like an extra cost. You already have a camera and something to record with in your pocket. So the cost of being a creator depends and varies widely. Now, if you're doing a podcast with a bunch of buddies, you're going to have to invest a little bit. Maybe some microphones, some cheap microphones, or you guys all use your phones. But then, maybe a computer to edit with, maybe some mic stands or something, I don't know. Like there's little costs that come in everywhere, but you don't have to spend an arm and a leg to start out. It takes years of collecting stuff to get anywhere. And I don't even have the best stuff, and I've spent a lot of money on things. Like I said, this is like a $400 mic, $1,000 camera, I have lens filters on that are like $70 a piece. I've got 3 of those on right now. I've got this boom arm that was $130. That Tula microphone, that red one, that was about $250. Got another stand on that with a pop filter. I built my computer, which was like $1,200, I think, altogether. I've got my monitor. Like, there's a cost there, but it's been built on over years. Like, the computers and stuff that I had over the past couple of years weren't that great, but I was still editing video on them and making music on them. Like, there's a cost for sure. And when it comes to money, there's a huge cost down the road if you want to have high quality content, because high quality means high cost. Unfortunately, you can have okay quality and get away with a budget, but like top quality is going to cost you top dollar. And not to mention, when you get anywhere, maybe you finally hire a couple people for like a team to, maybe you hire an editor or something. That's an extra cost right there. Like, you're going to pay them and stuff. There's costs everywhere, so it can be really cheap or it can be really expensive. It just depends on your mindset. Don't get caught up in, oh, I need to spend an arm and a leg right away to get all this top tier equipment that you probably, one, don't necessarily know how to use and just really don't need. A lot of this stuff is luxury that I'm using, and it's just because I saved up, I got the money for it, and like I was like, sure, I'll splurge a little bit. I still find deals. Like, I don't just buy something at the full price. I usually wait for deals and try to find ways to get it cheaper. Like, I got my camera for like $1,000 because I got it without a lens. I just got the body because I already had the lenses from my other camera and lenses that got sent to me. So like, there's ways to cut costs. And in the end, it just, like I said, depends on what you want to do, what your budget is, and how much you're willing to put into it. And it just kind of comes down to that. And sometimes, like a little bit of what's happened with my endeavors online with creation of content, is that you start making money from it, and a lot of times that money can pay for new equipment and stuff like that. That's definitely happened. That's not unheard of. Now, the next thing that I can jump to easily that is a cost for creation is time. And that's a big one. It takes a lot of time to do stuff. A lot of time. Let's take, for example, some of the content I make. A metal cover. So, spend time thinking of the song I want to do. Once I pick the song, now I got to take the time to memorize the song, think of how to transfer it into a metal version. Then I got to learn the lyrics if it has lyrics. Then I got to learn how it's played on a guitar, like learn the melodies, learn the chords behind it, learn the entire song. Then I have to start a session in Cubase and write out the song because I make the covers from scratch. So I need to write out the entire song for the guitar parts, the bass parts, the drum parts, the vocal parts, picking apart the vocal harmonies if there are. I need to figure out how to do them myself because I'm no vocalist. And once I finally get done with getting the tracks down, well, now I got to mix it. And I got to take all this time to mix the song and then master it. And then taking all the time to master the song and making tweaks and taking time to go out to my car and listen to it in my car and then listen to it on headphones. Listen to it 50,000 times to hear the little mistakes and little things I can change. And maybe I need to EQ this a little here and maybe do this here. And then when you finally get the version of the song that I like, well, now I got to shoot the video for it. So now I got to set up and figure out what am I going to do for the video. Is there going to be a theme to it, or is it just going to be me playing? How many angles am I going to have? What are the angles I'm going to have? And then set up to do all that. A lot of times each angle takes a couple takes, maybe 3 or 4 takes because I'll mess up something here, or I don't like the way I did this there. Redo that a couple times, and maybe 5-6 shots. 5-6 different angles, took 3 or 4 shots a piece. Maybe I'm shooting the video aspect for an hour or 2 hours, or maybe more, depending on how complex I want to make it. Now that I've got that all shot, I need to import all of that onto my computer and start editing the video. So I pull in the audio into a video editor and edit the video, all the different angles and stuff, to the music. that takes hours. Hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. Slicing, splicing, cutting, slicing. A lot. Now I gotta like do color grading and do all the crazy nitpicky stuff to make it look good. Make sure I pick all the right shots and angles and make it look coherent, make it look good. And then you get to a point where it's finished and you export it and then you upload it to YouTube. Well, then on the YouTube aspect, you got to try to optimize everything for SEO, search engine optimization. So a good title, good tags, a good description, and then you got to make a thumbnail that's really attractive and not too clickbaity to get people to click over to it. And that's a whole other part of it. Like, that seems like a long-winded explanation, but that's only a fraction of what it takes to do. Like, there's a lot to it. So it takes a lot of time. And the problem is that time has to be spread out along an even bigger span of time because I've got work. I've got to come home to my girlfriend, my dog. I got to like take time to relax. I got to take time to eat. I got to take time to sleep. Like, time is one of the biggest factors that comes to it, and that's why a lot of people end up who try to be a content creator end up fizzling out because they can't find the time or won't make the time to do it. And they just get burned out, and it is what it is. And so it takes a lot of time. Even the most simple content that you can think of. If you think you've got everything down super efficient, which I like to think my recording process for a lot of what I do is pretty efficient at this point. Even vloggers. You got to take time to edit, make a story, have a three section story with an arc, beginning, middle, and end, to make it interesting, and thumbnail and SEO, all that stuff. It takes time, a lot of time, and that can lead into sort of the next cost, which is your fucking sanity, your mental health. And if you've watched any YouTube person or TikToker or whatever for a long time, you probably get what I'm saying here. Like, there's a mental strain that comes with it because just from personal experience, I strive to want to make great content and make cool things. And a lot of times it's super stressful because I can become a perfectionist about it and really hard on myself. And that stresses me out, causes anxiety and just like feelings of not being good enough. And it sucks. And then you put all this time into something and you put it out and then it doesn't do very well. And then you feel really shitty. Like, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with me? What did I do wrong here? Why isn't it getting exposure? And then you feel shitty about yourself. Or if you try to keep yourself to a very tight schedule while you're stressing out all the time to hurry up and make sure this video's done and this video's done and this video's done for this day, for this day, for this day, for this day, and then you sacrifice quality because you're trying to keep to a schedule or you stress yourself out. You get anxious. You get burnt out. It's tough. It's extremely tough. And I'm not even doing it full time. Like, I've felt the burnout. I've felt the constraint of like not wanting to do anything. Even though it's like I have ideas that are on the back burner. I've got stuff for content. But it's just there's not time. And that stresses me out. Like, I don't have time as much anymore because of my job that I have currently to make content. And that stresses me out because I want to fucking do it. And it gives me feelings of hate because I hate my job. It is what it is. And to get as real as possible, like, it's reality for a lot of people until they like start making it online where they can make a living from what they're doing. So there's a big cost in terms of mental health. Not necessarily guaranteed because maybe some people don't end up with that cost, but that cost is definitely a factor. It's not there, if that makes sense. So money, time, which is money, mental health, and even sometimes relationships because of time and mental health. They can affect your relationships with those that are close to you. Like, I know in the past it's affected my relationship with my girlfriend a little bit because I would obsess over whatever project I'm currently working on, and that would cause me to spend less time with her and get into a certain like tunnel vision thing of not paying attention and not listening. And that can put strain on a relationship. Like, it's real. And like, if you're living at home still, like in high school or whatever, and you're living with your parents and siblings, you're sacrificing time away from them to do whatever it is that you're doing. And that might put a wrench in the mix, like a monkey wrench, and throw things off for whatever relationships you might have. And that could be a really shitty thing, because you don't want to sacrifice your relationships, but you also want to do what you love. And so you got to make sacrifices somewhere. And sometimes it's not always the most preferable place, unfortunately, because it is kind of cutthroat. You got to make some hard decisions on things sometimes. And it just kind of comes with a trade. I mean, you got to be in a certain world to be able to just say, nah, I'm not going to so-and-so's birthday because I got to work on this project that's probably going to get 30 views, but it makes me feel better about myself because I made it and I'm doing it. That's tough, because people don't want to tell you not to do what you love, but they're also like, hey, motherfucker, like, you're sacrificing time with everybody else. You're being kind of a recluse. You're being, not cool, like, not social, which is not for everybody. Like, I'm not telling you need to be social, because I'm definitely kind of okay with being by myself. And I don't need to be social 24/7. It's just not who I am. I can spend time by myself for hours and be okay. Now, I want to spend time with my girlfriend and my dog and stuff like that, but that's just because I have them. If I didn't, I'd be fine for the most part by myself, because as fucked up as it sounds, like, without a dog, without a girlfriend, I'd have more time to do content and stuff like that. So it's a balance, it's a balance thing. And again, that's just part of it. It's part of what you have to kind of go through to do anything online. And, I've at certain points found a decent balance with trying to pursue all this and then my personal life. And right now it's kind of imbalanced, because I think my work life is overtaking both my personal life and my creator life, which is not okay with me. And I'm trying to make changes to correct that. Hopefully here soon. And I've talked about that in videos on my YouTube channel. I need to make some changes in that aspect of my life, because it is affecting other parts. It's affecting my ability to be creative and make content. It's affecting my ability to spend time with my girlfriend and my dog. And it's messing with my mental health. It's messing with my sleep schedule, because the hours are so fucking crazy. It's bad news bears, and that's a cost. That is a cost. And I thought I had one more good point of cost, but maybe not. If you're watching this on YouTube, maybe leave a comment on another cost that you can think of. I don't want to cut off the podcast just yet. And I know this is going to be a somewhat shorter one, but there's a lot of costs that come with it. It's not all like gummy bears and gumdrops and candy canes. There's bad aspects to it, because in the end, it just becomes another like career point, right? It becomes a career. It's like another job. It's just a job that some people would prefer more than others. And someone would prefer to do that job over many other jobs, which is entirely true. Like, I would most definitely like to be making just content and surviving off of that than what I'm doing now. Like, I would probably be happy doing that over what I have gone to college for. Like, if I was able to pick between, being creative and being able to live off of it, and going into law and being able to live off of it, I would much more prefer being creative, because that's where I am deep in my core. It's just time, money, mental health, and relationships is what a lot of it comes down to, in my opinion. And there's not much more cost to it that I can think of. I think a lot of the points I've made kind of envelop anything else. Money costs money to get equipment. Time, it costs time to make things. Relationships, it costs things on relationships because of mental health. It costs your mental health, possibly. And, man. Physical health could cost you your physical health because, let's say you're a gamer, like you're a Twitch streamer, or you just make gaming content on YouTube, or both. Maybe you stream for 8 hours a day. Well, you might become sedentary and be sitting down all the time, and that's not good for your health. It's not good for your health to be sitting down all the time. Trust me, I know. I sit down for a lot of my job right now because I drive a lot of places. It takes a toll on my back, and it's not good. You know, it's not good. You got to keep moving. So it can be physically demanding, and unfortunately, again, that's part of the trade if that's what you're going to do. I know there have been times in the past where I really strained myself too much in terms of my hands playing guitar because I was recording something for a video or a song or whatever and couldn't get the part right and just played until I finally got it. But now I strained the fuck out of both my hands. My picking hand is just dead the next day. Like, it's like working out, you know? You're like really sore the day after. My hands and stuff, my grip isn't there for my left hand with my fretting fingers, and my fingers are all sore back up in here and up in here. Like, there's a physical health aspect to it too, I think. And a lot of times, if you're streaming a lot, unless you're conscientious about it, people go for a while without eating. I've seen streamers that are like, hey, I gotta eat, and they'll have someone bring them food, or they're like, hey, we gotta take a break because I gotta go eat. That's cool, but not everybody does that. People are so worried about like content, gotta keep people engaged, that they just don't think about that and they don't eat. And then that's a health problem in itself. And that's a cost of your physical health. I mean, it's all there, guys. This is the stuff that nobody tells you about. And again, I can't really speak from a high place or anything because I'm not in a high place when it comes to content creation. But these are all very real costs that come with doing this kind of thing. I guess I'm just telling you about them because maybe not everybody tells you. Everybody wants to glorify it. Look at how much money I made. Look at the mansion I'm in. Look at my new car. I got a Lamborghini and I got a Ferrari. And look at my diamond play button. Look at this. Look at my new camera. Look at all this. Like, flex. No, guys. No. I don't understand that whole thing. They want to glorify every aspect of it. And it is a thing that you can glorify, because if you can live off of making content, like it is a dream for myself to do, that'd be pretty fucking awesome. Like, I'm not going to lie and say that it wouldn't be awesome. But people tend to always show the brighter side, not the darker side of it all. And you know what? Another part of, like, mental cost is, like, your self-esteem. Because making content and having it out for the whole world on the internet is not for everybody, like, whatsoever. If you can't take criticism, if you can't deal with trolls, if you can't deal with haters, I'm sorry, but you're just not going to get anywhere. Because, yeah, you can go on YouTube and post videos and turn comments off, but nobody's going to watch. There's a certain stigma for people who turn comments off, and it's just like, I ain't going to watch your stuff. You got to deal with some really shitty people. I've had some really shitty things said to me on YouTube. Now, I brush it off because I don't really give a shit. But, like, people saying, kill yourself. People saying, oh, you suck. What the fuck is this? Or you copied this. Or I could do so much better. Or, you know, just really hateful kind of things. And a lot of people can't take that. Like, it sucked more in the beginning because I was like, man, I'm just trying to do this and you're putting me down. What the fuck is this? Now that I've got some kind of friction going, and even then, I didn't really care as much. I just really don't care as much now. Like, more. I care less now. Which isn't saying much. How much more below I don't care can you go? I really don't care. Because people say hateful shit all the time. And if it's really nasty stuff, then sometimes I just won't even let the comments stay. I'll just get rid of it, block them from the channel, whatever. Because I've had a couple like that are really nasty people that are just really unhappy people, like who hurt you kind of thing. I've said that a couple times. There's been some people who have said some really shitty things on a comment, and I'm like, who hurt you? And then, well, you... And a lot of times, I end up fucking with the people who try to be trolls too. Like, it's funny. I get sarcastic with them and like, oh, you really think so? I really suck donkey balls? Why would you say such a thing? And then they're like, ha ha ha. Blah, 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 blah. Or sometimes I just tell them off. I'm like, listen, it's really sad that you say this kind of stuff. I don't know who hurt you, but the fact that you take the time to say this nasty thing and type an entire essay in a comment on my video just shows that you have a lack of respect for other people, probably a lack of respect for yourself. You took the time to actually do that, and you didn't do a very good job of what you were trying to do. That's been the thing I've told people before. It's just a really shitty thing to do in general. So don't troll people. Don't ever be that person. Just don't. It's not okay, guys. It's just it's not okay, man. It's really not okay. But that's another cost that you kind of got to think of. If you can't handle criticism, trolls or haters, it's not for you. It's like end all be all, because you got to be able to brush it off. If you can't, you're going to overstress yourself and you're not going to get anywhere. And people are going to see right through it. They're going to consider you weak. And then that's it. That's all she wrote. Now I'm trying to think, is there any other cost involved? I've covered financial. I've covered mental. I've covered relationships. I've covered time. I honestly don't think there's much more in terms of cost that I can really think of. No, I don't think so. Yeah, just to sum it all up, if you want to become a content creator or if you're just starting out, be aware of these things. They're very real. I'm not bullshitting. I'm not over-exaggerating. These are very real things you need to think about. These are very real things to consider before you try to put yourself out in the world. And I think a lot of people make that mistake where they jump in the deep end way too quick, not realizing the extent of everything and the reality of it, get hurt, and then just never do it again, and then they're very hurt. You just got to be aware. You got to be aware of the bad side and the good side, and weigh your risk reward and make your decision that way. Is it a super high cost to be a creator? It depends on how you look at it. If you're like me, financially, it's not a huge cost because I've acquired a lot of stuff over the years. For time, it's a huge cost. So yes, it's definitely a cost of time for me. In terms of mental health, it's definitely been a cost in the past and less so now, but it still definitely has its impacts. Relationships, in the past, it's definitely had its costs. I don't think as much anymore, but it's definitely had its costs. So, again, it's just one of those things you got to weigh for yourself and make a decision based on. I can't tell you yes, do it, or no, don't do it, but maybe listen to this and consider a few things that I've said here today, and I don't know, reflect on it. If you're watching this on YouTube, let me know what you think of anything I said in the comments below. If you're on anything else, I don't think you can say shit, so that sucks. Go watch me on YouTube with this. There is video forms of this on YouTube and should be on Spotify as well. So if you're on Spotify, you could probably be watching the video form of this right now. If you're not and it's not working because it's still like in beta weirdness, just go to YouTube, the Metal Brain Podcast. There'll be video forms of it up on there too, so you can see my beautiful face as I'm talking to you. Follow the Metal Brain Podcast on Instagram and all the streaming platforms. Apple Music finally got this podcast up on there. Took fucking so much effort to get it up there. It was a pain in the ass. I tell you fucking what. I put so much time and effort into getting this damn thing on Apple Podcast. You better just go fucking like it and listen to it on there and follow me or whatever it is the fuck you do on Apple Podcast, because holy good Lord, I have never done anything more difficult in my life. Apple, when you're not an Apple user, makes things so fucking difficult to do. Oh my God, that was a pain in the ass. But it's on there now. So listen to it on there maybe. Because I know, at least from how I distribute my music, Apple Music pays a shit ton per stream as opposed to Spotify. Apple Music pays out way more than Spotify does. So if you have no preference in terms of having a video playing or not while you're listening to this, maybe go to Apple Podcasts and listen to it on there, because maybe I might get a better payout for it and you can help support me just by listening to it on a different platform for free, might I add. It doesn't cost you a damn thing to listen to this. Hello? Like, we're talking about costs here. This costs you nothing, and you can learn a thing or two. You ever think about that? You get some free knowledge. It's there, man. Like, it's there. Show the appreciation. Just play it on Apple Podcasts, goddammit. Help support this fucking craziness. I don't know. Or do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Regardless, if you like the podcast and you like what I'm doing so far, because this is kind of a side project as opposed to my main YouTube channel, let me know. And share it with your friends. And show them the cool shit that I make. Or just go to Sinister Bunny Studios and look at my shit on there. I really don't, do both. Follow the Metal Brain Podcast and Sinister Bunny Studios. You'd be a fucking awesome person if you did both. Subscribe to the YouTube channel of both. Instagram of both. Spotify of both. Apple Music /podcast of both. Hello, guys, are you there? You need to do this. Okay. I'm rambling. I made my points. I don't think there's any more costs that I can think of. So if there's more, let me know. If you're on YouTube, let me know if there's more that you can think of, and we can have a conversation down in the comments, or I can bring it up in another podcast. Also, maybe give me some ideas for people that you would like to see on this podcast. I have a handful in mind that I'm trying to get on here. I would prefer to have people in person, but some of them I feasibly can't get in person. So it's going to have to be a video call type of thing. But I think it can turn out really, really cool. If there's people that you would like to see on the Metal Brain Podcast, definitely fucking let me know. I'd love some ideas. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for listening as always, and I'll catch you on the next one.